Yes. Hi, Alex. Your hands are in clay. They were last week. I love that. Beautiful. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Hi, Marlene. How are you? Oh, I need you guys today. Hi, Jacoba. Am I saying it right? Jacoba? Hi, Diane. Happy Mother's Day. Yes. Hi, Henriette. Hi, everyone. Hi, Karen. So good to see you guys here. Although I can't see your faces, we'll have to do one where we can all see each other. Hi, Wendy from Alberta. So good to see you. Welcome. Well, in about 15 to 20 minutes, Tisha is going to join. Hi, Lisa. I packed your order today. Oh, drinking green got us cold. Isn't it amazing? I know. I know, Haddis, we didn't see you last week, but you can watch the replays. We have them now. Hi, Serafina. Finally managed to brew a cup of tea in time for Saturday sips. Bohemian breakfast, my go-to. Great. Hi, Janelle. Hi, sweetheart. I miss seeing you here. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Dorian. Good to see you. So good to see you again. Hi, Molly. Coconut chai at the ready, Diane's got. Oh, hi, Lily. Lily Blue is new. Welcome, sweetheart, to the circle. Hi, Karen. Hi, Catherine. I'm sipping my third transcendent cup of honey black, my fave. Trust me. I love honey black. Yes, I know. I just cleared out the last of it from the importer. So, oh, Henriette. Oh, Green Goddess iced as well. Absolutely. Which are the best teas for iced tea? I really like the Green Goddess, and I also do the Soulmate. I like that iced, and I have some new iced teas coming. Sally placed a nice order for herself for Mother's Day. Yay! Well, you're looking at the packing queen here. I packed a lot of orders this week with my girls. Hi, Tiffany. Mantra Mint on ice is so good. So good. Hello from Rhode Island. Hi, Jacoba. Am I saying your name right or is it Jacoba? First time here, welcome. Hi, Cynthia. Hey, Heather. Good to see you again. Honey Black is not extinct. Don't worry. Yeah, no, I have it. We ran out and I was able to get some more. So I ordered everything they had. And then the harvests are coming now. So we'll start having a lot of new exciting teas. Yeah. Oh, Serafina, that's a good point. You prefer the honey black iced over drinking it hot. Yeah, the honey black is very, it's got that chestnut sort of caramel flavor profile. And wait till you see what's coming in. Oh my God, you guys. I have been shopping while you weren't looking. And so, okay, I'm going to get us started now. So what I'm going to drink today is the new Harmonize. And some of you may have gotten your boxes, some of you may not have, but I'm going to tell you, this is really, really, really special. It's the 2019 harvest of Yin Zhen Silver Needle. Am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. So it's a very, very fine tea. It's plucked very carefully. It used to be only plucked but with scissors, sterling silver scissors on a full moon. It's why I call it the silver moon tea by virgins, but it's not like that anymore, I don't think. And it was only reserved for royalty. And the boxes come out, Dorian, every time. If you ordered on the 4th, we ship on the 4th. If you ordered on the 10th, we ship on the 10th. If you ordered on the 15th, we ship on the 15th. It's just kind of how the system works. It's an automated system. So it'll come to you when you can go into the subscription system and you can change your delivery date. We're just, trying to get them out as fast as we can. So Karen, let me get back to that. I'm going to talk a little bit about this one, and then I'm going to hold on to the caffeine question as well as new herbals coming. And then Cindy, I will. Oh, Thanks, sweetheart. Tea is, okay, I'm going to start with a quote. No, I'm going to start by brewing my tea. Okay, you guys are getting me excited, and Tisha's going to be here soon, so hold on. Okay, so I'm going to brew a big pot because I have a late night working today. So I'm going to, this is a harmonize. So it's the Yin Gen Silver Needle, which I call Silver Moon, blended with essential oil of bergamot from Sicily, blended with tangerine essential oil. And bergamot and tangerine are almost the same, but bergamot's a little bit more heady. And it's a natural antidepressant. And then I blend it, of course, with wild roses because I'm a rose girl. And so I'm going to show you this. This has turned out to be my new favorite, my new baby. And so don't forget, white tea is really good for collagen production. So your skin needs white tea. It's also it's very low in caffeine. The second steep really has no caffeine. It's cooling, yin cooling on the system. So it actually helps with digestion. It helps if you get indigestion. It helps if you have any sort of, sour stomach, if you eat something that's really rich. It helps with all of that. But remember, white tea is for collagen. Black tea is for the heart and the liver oftentimes, and green tea is for the brain, and white tea is also for the brain. But that's sort of how would I make that in a black blend? Oh, the rose and bergamot. That's a good idea, Lisa. Hi, sweetheart. Good to see you here. Definitely. So I just want to show you the exquisiteness of these leaves. They're just the buds and they're beautiful. So I'm going to steep a pot of this right now, and then we're going to get into your questions, and then I'm going to get into a reading, and then Tisha's going to be here, and you guys are in for a treat. So here I'm going to take a deep breath, sweet sisters. We're going to settle in into our bodies and into our homes. If any of you aren't at home, you're going to learn how to make your home even more special today. How beautiful is that? I know. I'm putting roses in Karen, I'm addicted to roses. I just love it. So, hi Sylvia. Thank you for joining. So this is harmonize, and it's infusing the water, and it turns this exquisite color, this rosy color. And this pot actually came from Amazon, Carla. These are really hard for us to ship. A lot of stuff, stuff breaks, and so these we don't have our shipping together enough to ship things like this. We do sell another pot that is excellent, but this one is really fancy and it breaks really easily. I bought 3 of them, 2 of them showed up broken. So I don't sell this yet, but one of these days when I have better packing fill, I will start selling more like this. Yeah, Elizabeth, I packed your order, sweetheart. You should get it any minute. Okay, so I'm going to pour myself a cup. So the thing with white tea is I steep this 3 or 4 times, but I just leave it in because white tea doesn't get bitter. You want to use a cool water, like 165 to 175 max. And then the bergamot, the top note is the bergamot. And it's almost like the mid note is a little bit of the tangerine, which is usually the top note. There we go. Now everything makes sense. So with this cup, I open our tea circle. Thank you, sisters, for joining me. Thank you for making my life more full and rich. Thank you for bringing your light to the world. Thank you for choosing joy. Thank you for choosing health. Thank you for choosing self-care in the form of tea circle and sisterhood. This is a very powerful and magical way for us to care for ourselves. And if we're caring for ourselves, the ripple effect to our families and to all those around us is vast. So with this cup, I take a sip in honor of you and for your highest good. Okay. Put your hand on your heart with your cup of tea. But Alexandria, don't put your hand on your heart with clay all over your hands. Put your hand on your heart. And just give yourself some love and comfort because you're doing great. You're showing up for life. You're here every day doing life, being a choice to live and to be more aligned with yourself, to better the world, to serve others, to serve your soul, to wake up to your full and infinite potential. And you are here enjoying a sip with a sister and with a group of us that spans the globe now. Thank you for being here. And with this next sip, I send each of you all the wealth, abundance, prosperity, and joy that you can possibly hold. All of the joy that is living and laughter and sunlight and food and friendship and togetherness and connectivity and heartfelt grace. May the divine bless you with every step you take, every sip you sip, every breath you take, every giggle you make, all of it. I almost sounded like a Sting song. Tisha's early. Hi, baby. How are you? Here, I'm going to turn you on. Hi, Tisha. Just unmute. There you go. I'm just going to do a reading and then we'll get started. Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
I said I couldn't let you drink tea without me.
Oh, hi, Mary Beth. It is delicious. Okay, a couple tea questions before we get started with our guest of honor today, who I'm so excited to introduce you to. So a couple of you asked about caffeine. White tea has about 20 to 30 milligrams max of caffeine in the first steep and much less, maybe 5 milligrams in the second steep. The thing with caffeine in white and green tea is that it is attached to an amino acid called L-theanine. L-theanine is cooling and calming and relaxing for the mind. So it's the only it's the only beverage or food in the world where caffeine is actually attached to L-theanine. And so the L-theanine calms the mind. They've done studies where it helps the brain function on both sides. So they've done 30-year scans of Japanese people who drank green tea every day, which is very high in L-theanine, and they found that the brain function was almost even on both sides. So those of us who are more creative or those of us who are more analytical, what happens is when you bring tea into your life, and what I call the magic hour way of tea is you're really bringing yourself into a balance. So you're balancing both sides of the brain. You're bringing yourself into more clarity, more wealth of clarity, and more abundance in thought pattern because you are actually being able to tap the creative and the analytic side. A lot of people ask me how I get so much done and how I can create new products, pack orders, balance the books, apply for loans, play the CFO, fire, well, I don't fire people, but hire people and do all of that. And it really is tea. I rely on it and have always relied on it. And it has brought me a lot of vitality and a lot of energy to accomplish all the things I want to experience as I'm in this earth suit for this short amount of time. And so, so remember that the caffeine in tea is different than the caffeine in coffee. The caffeine in tea is different than the caffeine in anything else because it's been tempered and it's been balanced with L-theanine. And L-theanine is used for sleep and relaxation, but when it's combined with caffeine in the beautiful, you know, potion that is tea, it actually is a nootropic that helps to stimulate the brain calmly. And trust me, I have had way too many, cups of strong Sri Lankan tea when I'm in Sri Lanka, and I've been, a little jittery, but it takes a lot to get there. So just find your balance with it. And L-theanine content in black tea, it's in all teas. Absolutely. It seems to be highest in green, but I don't know the exact percentages. Yes, and the Lucid Dreams is caffeine free, and that has Tulsi in it. So I'm going to read a couple quotes, and then I'm going to have Tisha, our guest of honor, start. So, well, I'm going to interview you, Tisha. Okay, so I have this little book called Tea Wisdom, and they're inspirational quotes and quips about the world's most celebrated beverage. So I like to ask a question and open up, and I opened up to this one for you. The tea ceremony is just another way of celebrating another act of living. The water must be boiled so that it goes through the appropriate stages. The tea must be tasted and tested before it is selected for steeping. That's my job. I taste and test before I send you tea. When the tea is plucked, where the water is chosen, who is invited to share the tea are of enormous importance. So we are who we choose to have tea with, and it's called Tea Wisdom by Erin Fisher. It's a book of quotes, and there's one more quote. I know it's a good one, huh, Rosie? And this is for those of us who love wine, me. I love wine, and I always joke that if I was in the wine business, it wouldn't be good because I'm not moderate. And so I love this because I always say magic hour is the new happy hour. And so this is a quote about tea and wine, and tea versus wine. So I am so fond of tea that I could write a whole dissertation on its virtues. It comforts and enlivens without the risks attendant on spirituous liquors. Without the risks of spirituous liquors. Gentle herb, let the florid grape yield to thee. So wine, bow down to tea. I think this is so funny. Thy soft influence is a more safe inspirer of social joy. Isn't that great? So it's really good because I'm a more is more girl, and more tea is not bad. More wine usually doesn't always end well. So so those are our little quotes for today. And I now have the pleasure of welcoming Tisha Morris. Hi, Tisha. How are you?
I'm great. I'm under the influence of
Oh,
your
I can't
tea.
hear you. Can you guys hear Tisha?
Oh,
Let's see.
hold on.
Oh, you guys can hear her? Oh, why can't I? Okay, let me see. Tisha, can you talk? Oh, let me see. Okay. Oh,
All right.
there
How
you are.
about now?
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, Sunshine. How are you?
Hi.
Good to see you.
I said I'm doing great because I'm under the influence of your tea.
Oh, did you get your box?
Oh my gosh. So you saved the best for me. I know you did.
You
That
know,
white tea. Oh my God.
we had an issue with the importer sent me the wrong batch of white tea, and I tasted it and I was like, oh my God, it had this smoky flavor and it wasn't right. And it was like 3 days before I was supposed to blend it. And I drove down to Long Beach to the port and I got the right tea. And I came back and I blended it with the bergamot and the tangerine. I was just like, no, I knew it had to be a thing, but yeah, I saved the best because this is like sweet and precious, and just like your teachings. I have really been taking everything you teach, and I've read your books now and I've taken it all to heart, and I have some really cool stories about it. So
Ooh.
welcome. So tell everybody a little bit about you, how you went from law to being a Feng Shui expert and guide and teacher.
Sure. So the short story is law was not fun and Feng Shui is. Seriously though, so yeah, I started out as a foreclosure attorney of all things. So instead of foreclosing homes,
Foreclosing on the home versus
yeah,
recognizing the home.
right. So I thought maybe raising the vibration of homes would be a better fit, and it has been. So no, seriously, my segue from law into Feng Shui was through the healing arts, yoga and energy work, and discovered that I had kind of a intuitive sense with spaces, and studied Feng Shui formally, and then began to write about it and teach about it and do courses about it, and so yeah, so here we are. My homes have always been my best teacher. My guru is what I call them.
That's so cool.
And you know, finally, I feel like the kid in school who was like the geek in chess club, and suddenly chess has become cool with the quarantine and everyone's stuck at home.
Well, I know, and we planned this Feng Shui box before the quarantine, and I was going to call it the Feng Shui box, but then I was like, no, harmonize your home, because it takes energy to harmonize.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think people are like, oh my gosh, I need to work on my home, and you know, the many functions now that's been having to serve, work, play, gym, everything, and finding all those different uses and functions. And, functionality is an aspect of Feng Shui. It's an energetic component that people kind of don't think of as Feng Shui, but having a home function well is good energy.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit. I was very struck when you were telling me that when you were practicing law and you were in Nashville, you were finding that the more burnt out you got, the more things were going on in the home, and how the home is like our second skin. Talk a little bit about home and health and repairs, because I have this leaky faucet and we've tried everything. I'm about to just tear it out and fix it. And it's right in my spiritual health center, which, I'm pretty healthy, but I don't know. So anyway, but what talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Our home is really a literal mirror of ourself. And this is really the magic of Feng Shui, in that as we make changes to our house, we make changes to ourself. It really is as you mentioned, our second skin. So our physical body is an extension of our mental, emotional selves, or self. And then beyond our physical body is our home. It holds all of our patterns. It's where we dream, and it's where we sleep. It's where we think. It's where we emote. It's where it holds all of that. And so that's why it's so so intertwined with our own energy. And it will start just like the body gives you messages our body gives us messages in the form of dis-ease, of things that are off balance in our mental emotional state. And so our house does this too. And so your leaky faucet is just trying to get your attention to some leaky emotions somewhere. And yeah, you can look to the Bagua map to kind of get some further information on to connect the dots. And a lot of times making that connection will then for yourself, the plumber will mysteriously arrive to actually fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed also that being in the home more, I'm much more sensitive to clutter. Whereas before I was too busy to do much about it. And now I almost can't bear it. Like it starts to, and even in my tea salon, it's turned into, a packing house for e-commerce. But I noticed that I will start to actually short circuit, because I'm a little ADD. I think all entrepreneurs are, but I'll start to short circuit, and then I'll stop myself and make a shift. And I hear your voice every time I do. But the other day I had these palm trees that were in our helpful people corner, and they were kind of dying and I went to pull them out, and they were sharp. They stabbed me. They had all these like spikes on them. And I was telling one of my employees, I was saying, oh my God, I'm going to move these out of the helpful people corner, because we shouldn't have spiky, sharp things that are like dying in the helpful people corner. And I go, watch, the banker's going to call, or something crazy is going to happen. As soon as I moved them and I set up an altar to Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, and I put some gifts that have been given and my ancestors, the banker called and they gave me a credit line, and I got my PPP loan that day. And it was like, of course, maybe that would have happened anyway, but she was like, okay, this is creepy in a good way. But I noticed that you're right. We can shift something. Like I've been practicing and going, really, really, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example. And, that's sometimes people think Feng Shui is really magical, or it's like, and it kind of is, but it isn't at the same time. I mean, like it really is a mind, body, home connection. And it kind of like the changes do kind of have to also be made in the home, like you did, of shifting that plant for something to come to fruition or completion. It's why we might get body work done somewhere, energy work or whatever, and we come home and we fall back into our same patterns. This is like, especially when you go on vacation and you have all these epiphanies and these things you want to do when you get back home, and you just come back to your same routine. You have to make the switch also in your home as well for a change to really root in. Mm-hmm. And so it could be something as simple as moving that plant, and you did it with intention, which always helps as well. And voila, that's how the magic happens. And was it coincidental or would it have happened anyway? No, because you did. I mean, like it all orchestrates in tandem. You know, that's kind of the synchronicity of how things work.
Yeah.
I had a craniosacral therapy appointment, and on my way home, because it was on the way, I had these light bulbs for my outdoor lighting extension of the helpful people section, or excuse me, the spiritual, the mental section of the Bagua, and picked up those light bulbs. And as soon as I got home, I replaced them. These cool little Edison bulbs for outdoors, and the light bulbs went on. And I had just come back from that craniosacral therapy, which is all about, you know, balancing your brain. And it's like, you can't make that up. Like those two right in a row are not by accident.
Currents, absolutely. So Tisha, what is something, you know, talk a little bit about finding a trouble spot in the home, and if any of you guys don't have the Bagua map, Tisha, I think there's on the membership site, and then we can also post one of these for everybody. But talk a little bit about finding a trouble spot and making a shift. I noticed last month when we did the soulmate box, or the month before, I asked everybody what was in their relationship corner, and I noticed I had a TV in mine. And I was distracted from the issues in my relationship. Jordan and I just were always busy. And so we didn't actually work on some core stuff, which now we've been working on. And, but it was interesting. So everybody said, one woman said, oh my God, I have luggage in that corner. I store all my luggage. I'm like baggage in the relationship. So talk a little bit about like choosing a trouble spot and how to start moving the chi through that again, and what some solutions are.
Yeah, great question. Because you want to, Feng Shui only works if you actually use it. So, and I'll make it really simple. There's two ways of approaching it. You can not even consider the Bagua and just think about what area of your home is your least favorite. It could be a closet, it could be a drawer, it could be a whole room, and think about why it's your least favorite. And then from there, you apply what I call my 3-step process to Feng Shui. Step 1 being removing anything that is clutter being anything that's no longer relevant in your life, something that's just taking up space for new energy to come in. Okay, so removing, which is just blocks, think of them as energy blocks. And then after you remove things, it could be anything from a piece of furniture to an old love letter from an ex. You know, it can range, size does not matter when it comes to clutter. And then you can see about rearranging if there needs to be an arrangement that's more functional, okay? And then third, and only third, you can add something. And that's really the last step, because a lot of times people think of Feng Shui as adding a bunch of stuff, crystals and plants and whatever. That's really
I still don't know how to use the little cat. I just keep getting rescue kittens. I don't know.
Exactly, right. All these things that you should buy to bring you good luck. No, it's actually more likely that you're blocking the flow of energy, rather than removing clutter, honestly.
Is more important than putting the right.
Absolutely. Think about the vacuum of space that creates. And it's all about flow of energy. And if you think of flow of energy in these areas of your life, and so you don't even have to know what area of your life that least favorite room was in, but you could probably guess based on what area of your life is challenging you, currently. The other approach is using the Bagua map, and the Bagua map is seen as a tool. And so it's not like you have to feel like you have to feng shui your whole house. Instead, what area of your life is challenging you right now? Is it relationships? Is it work? Is it money? Is it health? And there's a section of your house that correlates to each of those sections. And you can go to that area of your house and do the same 3-step process. What do you need to remove? Do you need to rearrange anything? And then you can add. And by adding, it's, the more personal you can make something, the better. So me adding a picture of me and my love in my relationship corner is going to have a lot more energetic weight than buying, I don't know, two ducks, or, unless it's part of your culture or your tradition. Yeah. And so that's, a way to really personalize, and it's things you probably already have around the house that may not be getting there, you may not be appreciating, and might, could really actually add some energy.
Yeah, and I noticed too, I want to talk a little bit about the emotions behind decluttering and getting rid of things. I, you know, I gained weight and then I couldn't get rid, like I have 6 closets, like every closet in the house is mine. Like I built an extra closet. Like other people, may buy stocks, I buy clothes. I don't know what that symbolizes, but I think that for me, like now I'm losing weight again, and I'm glad I kept all of those things. But I find myself emotionally tied to certain things that I know I really don't need. And if I could just release them, I know that it would make room for more. Or for new opportunities. What do you say when somebody's just stuck and can't get rid of something? What does that say about us?
It says that you're normal. And it also says you have emotions that are associated with that item that want to be processed, and that item has a story to tell. And it's still there because there's a story to be told for completion. Okay. And so I actually am a proponent of not just purging and binging things. There's a process. I mean, for some things that just need to go to the trash or recycle, that's fine. But for items that hold that emotional weight, it's ripe for processing and moving through. There's something attached to it that needs to be processed for you to then move on from it, and then the new energy can come in. And there's some easy ways to work through that. We can be our own detective or own therapist. I've done these what I call clutter intervention workshops, where I do one-on-one with people and kind of mirror them. But you can do it yourself and just ask simple questions of, who does this item remind me of? What was going on in my life when I received it or purchased it? Who does it remind me of? What does it remind me of? There's an emotional connection somewhere with it. And at the end of the day, it's going to relate to some identity, a past identity that you haven't fully let go of.
My younger, skinnier self.
Yeah. So with women with clothing, it could be, when the identity in college of when I was, successful, or sorry, my email just distracted me. Turn that off real quick. Emotions around, feeling successful, feeling pretty, feeling like the catch on campus, any of these old identities that we haven't fully integrated is really what's going on.
So we have a question from Jean. How do I feng shui my next door neighbor's aggressive pit bull and neighbors who don't see problem with it aggressively lunging and charging at my fence? We share an alleyway to our backyards. Yeah, neighbors. I mean, I'm really blessed that my neighbors are far away and that they're also angels, but I have had really scary or bad neighbors in the past. Is there anything feng shui wise that you can do to sort of create a boundary? I've been really focused on boundaries this week, and to create a boundary to protect your energy in your home.
Yes, so the traditional feng shui remedy for that is there's a particular mirror that you can buy, and it's called the Bagua mirror. You can buy it on Amazon, or it's probably the only store that you'd be able to find it right now that you can go to or have it shipped to you from. And it's specific for reflecting energy back away from you. I only recommend using that.
Cave one, the one that is like curved.
Yes, that's right. The mirror is shaped like an eyeball.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because there is one that goes the other direction, convex.
Yeah. So
usually they come in a pack, but yeah, the one that's shaped like an eyeball, and it reflects the energy back to its source. I recommend, if you use that, to do it with the highest intentions. You don't want to cause negative karma. And there's actually some stories out of Hong Kong where banks poison arrowed each other, and then they both went out of business. So you want to keep your integrity high, and really at the end of the day, the best way to handle neighbors is to raise the vibration to where something has to shift, and sending them, this isn't really feng shui, but sending them love and light, even that's very difficult at times. So doing that in conjunction with the mirror would be a good plan.
Yeah. Yeah. And that brings us back to the intentionality behind what we're doing. So Feng Shui is almost like the outer practice of our inner work. And
I love that.
yeah, and so it feels that way. And that mirror is Pakwa. How do you spell that?
PA
Mhm.
and then KUA.
Okay, Pakwa Mirror Gene. So Sylvia just moved some furniture around and it looks much better. Good. You got the energy. Natalie's asking, what about for pets? Natalie, what do you mean, honey? So you might want to extend that. Um, so I also wonder, is there, so tell me a little bit about if we're going to use the Bagua map, tell me a little bit about like in the children and creativity section, what if somebody doesn't have children, or what if, I remember with I was in a session with Barbara Marks Hubbard once, and she said, I kept having babies until I realized I needed to write books. And then she said, so I noticed like, the children creativity and then love and relationships. Are there any like things that we could do for each section that you find will enliven these aspects of our lives?
Sure. Yeah. The creativity of children. So yeah, you hit upon it. It could be your child could be a child or a human child, or it could be a book or a creative project. And that section really is about tapping into joy and creativity and spontaneity and fun. So if you're needing any more of that in your life, then that would be a section of your house to look at, and then apply the 3 steps to Feng Shui. What can you remove, rearrange, and add? And so yeah, a great little gua. Each of those sections relate to the original I Ching book, so it's really steeped in a lot of history. The love and relationship section relates primarily to love relationships, but it could be any partnership. So any relationship between 2 people. I notice when I make improvements in that section that actually partnerships, I'll get someone who wants to collaborate with me, or things like that seem to happen in that gua for me as well, in addition to love relationship. And so each of those, again, the more personal you can make those sections. So with the creativity section, or if it's children, if you're wanting to actually conceive children, that would be a section to look at, and adding things that are creative, childlike, or creativity, producing, or plants that bring life. Anytime you can bring energy to any of these sections through living things, plants, rocks, but especially our energy. Our energy is the best Feng Shui remedy you can have, as our own human energy, and enjoying these sections of the house and making them again functional, making them spaces that you really like and enjoy.
Yeah, I love that. And so let's see, we have a question from Karen. I have a picture that belonged to an ex-best friend. I loved it from the first time I saw it at her home. She gave it to me around 11 years ago and has since just left my life with no explanation. I still love the picture, but I'm wondering if there might be some negative energy coming from that
The person left her life, or the picture left her life?
person. And she still has the photo
Oh,
in,
okay.
yeah. So you talk about that in one of your books.
Yeah, clutter intervention.
Yeah.
Um, so this would be a gift. And I mean, if you still like the picture, then I don't see any reason not to keep it. However, if it does bring up some negative energy in your own energy field when you see it, then I would maybe question keeping it. And whether we keep something hanging like out in our visible space, or in a closet, it's really the same thing. Okay. Actually sitting out visible is actually even better, because at least you're consciously aware of it. Things that we stick in a closet are things that we energetically don't want to deal with. It's be the equivalent of our blind spots, or our subconscious blocks that we're not wanting to look at. So things that we kind of stuff in a closet, it doesn't escape our psyche.
Yeah. Yeah, it becomes the underlying stuff we're going to have to work on anyway. Wendy is asking what one of your books would be that would help with learning the Bagua map.
My book, Mind, Body, Home.
I love that one. I actually, I'll grab it. Well, I'll grab it toward the end and show you
Okay.
guys the cover. Yeah, that's a fantastic book. So Janelle's asking, any thoughts on EMF, electromagnetic frequencies. I feel this is a huge topic lately. Is there any Feng Shui tips on this?
There, there aren't really Feng Shui tips, but well, there's not traditional Feng Shui tips because EMFs weren't really an issue.
And just for any of the listeners or viewers, an EMF is, the energy that comes off of electrical poles, of like the 5G towers, off your cell phone, your computer, anything that has a wireless, and it can cause the electrical currents, because we are electricity, and it can cause, we have electric currents in us. It can cause the electrical currents to kind of get a little warbly. I have a new staffer who keeps making the company computer, like kind of freak out. And I asked her if she was an Aquarius, and she said yes. She was like, "That's crazy." And I was like, "But she's electric. She's got a lot of electric energy." So that's what it is. So Janelle was asking that. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you clarified that. Electromagnetic frequencies. And a couple things on that. Number one is, so I actually have an EMF meter that I take to homes when I do consultations, if there's been some illnesses or anything, just to check it out. And I just share that with you because just to let you know, you can buy an EMF meter for about $120. Because I know that there's been some businesses that are charging a lot to come to your home to check EMFs, but you don't have to pay that much, okay? But I use crystals. There are EMF blockers that you can now buy for if you have EMF issues, but there's some stones that are good for that, like selenite and tourmaline, and the dark stones can help absorb.
I think, is it cyanite or kyanite?
Mm-hmm.
It's the blue one. Mm-hmm. That one I put right where we had some EMF stuff, because somebody said that would really help. And we're sleeping better. And we also got grounding sheets, or the earthing sheets too, Janelle. So Nikita, hi Nikita. I haven't seen you in a long time. I've been using shungite and organite for EMF. Okay, thank you for that. Shugnite.
Yes, that one. I've never used that one, but I've heard that. That's a very common.
So basically, it's using, like what you said, it's using alive things to keep the aliveness of the home. And even if the EMFs, or we're being exposed to things, crystals and stones and rocks and plants, they're all alive. Mm-hmm. So would you say that, our homes are a living, breathing aspect of our nature? Because if it's our second skin, it's also, how alive your home is, right? How energized it is, and vibrationally. So your home is alive, basically.
Absolutely. I call it the soul of the home, and each space has its own soul to a certain extent. And in my Mind, Body, Home book, I actually kind of wrote the book as if the first half of it is the personality of your home, and which is through the numerology and its own history through previous occupants. So it has its own energy, its own everything before we ever walk in the door. And then when you walk in the door, you bring all your baggage in with you. And it's almost like it is a relationship that you have with your house. And, just like any relationship, it can be challenging, or it can be supportive, or a combination. And so obviously we want to go for supportive, and our home should be supportive for us and not challenging. And so that's where Feng Shui comes into play.
Beautiful. So one thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is certain colors and certain scents and flowers. So when I was researching Feng Shui, I couldn't believe how there's basically like a Feng Shui of plants, where I could tie in my essential oil training and my tea blending with certain flowers. I mean, I created this massive document. You and I should write a book about it someday. But I was blown away that certain flowers and scents are very much integrated into the practice of Feng Shui. So like gardenias and jasmine and roses, and then the mandarin and the citrus brings luck. And so can you talk a little bit about how you use the power of scent in your home to, because you have a particular, cleansing Apollo or a sage spray that you
Yeah,
can.
yeah, smudge spray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw your memes on social media and they were so beautiful. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool of how you were connecting these scents with Feng Shui. And honestly, that's a branch of Feng Shui that I haven't really done a lot in, except for the purpose of clearing spaces. So space clearing has kind of been one of my niches within Feng Shui. And it's about clearing the energy, the unseen energy within your home, whereas clutter is clearing on the physical level. Space clearing is clearing on the energetic level of these patterns that are in our house. And if you've never space cleared your home, then you're still living among the energy from the people who lived there before. This is why you might notice a certain house in your neighborhood, everyone who moves there gets a divorce, or everyone who moves there has a baby or whatever. It's these patterns that keep on happening. And so that's one of the primary needs for space clearing. And so, yeah, I developed a formula that I tried to embody my essence into a bottle. And that was the formula that I came up with. And beyond that, I haven't actually integrated a lot of sense into it, but you are the perfect person for that.
So, Swear, can you give us instructions on how to clear a space? Because, I know that sometimes when we're living alone, we can get sad or depressed, and that can linger. When we're, in a marriage and there's been, a conflict or we're just sick of each other, it could, I tend to OD on incense and Palo Santo, and my house is always like, the kids are like, Mom, open the windows, but talk a little bit about, can you give us instructions on how to clear a space so that everybody can go and clear their space after this?
Absolutely. Yeah. But that's being home so much. Definitely we all need to. Yeah. So there's a lot of different methods. Burning sage is one of the most common methods, and that's a great method. And then my smudge spray, or there's other smudge sprays out there besides mine. And then bells is a common one. There's these different methods, kind of are brought from different cultures. There's the Balinese space clearing bell. Sage kind of comes from the Native American traditions. So any of these are great. And so you want to add the intention of why you're space clearing. Again, we underestimate how powerful our mind is, and how we integrate any of these modalities. And so setting the intention of why you're space clearing, and it could be very general, to clear away any negativity, or it could be as specific as, I want to clear the energy from that big argument from last night over dinner. And then if you're burning sage, you would just waft it. And if in the modalities, you just do the modality, and then you want to instill back into the space an intention, or what I call, it could be a blessing, it could be a mantra, it could be, I can now call in harmonious relationships, harmonious communication, whatever that relates back to your intention. But yeah, it's really important. These energies can start to coagulate, and these energy balls that most of us can't see, they're hanging around. And the reason why we talk about these kind of negative or dense energies, because that's what actually gets stuck in spaces. It's density. And so that's why we need to clear it away and break it down. Because it can linger and it builds. And so then you're more likely to have another argument in that same space, and the next night and the next night, or so forth. You might notice different areas of your house where you're more prone to have a lack of harmony.
Especially, clutter. One thing I wanted to mention too to everybody is that sage actually has been proven to disinfect the air. So there are certain things that you can burn that actually help cleanse, like actually clean the air. And so I was always interested in that. And I've always used a feather. I use white sage, and I'll use a feather, and I'll brush the feather toward the corners and toward the area. And I will say, I release any fear, I release any residual frustration, I release, and may this space be filled with joy, may the space be filled with abundance, may the space be filled with prosperity. And I go around, and I used to do it every morning when I came into the tea salon, and I need to start doing it again. But it was we just got so busy, but it was really what it did too, is everybody who walks into the space can feel it and they go, oh, the energy in here. And so that's a simple thing we can do. So Alicia's asking about salt lamps. Do those help clear energy, and is there good placement for salt lamps?
Yeah, salt lamps are great. They're you know, they're like little ion, you know, machines in a way. Can help absorb some negativity. They're not gonna clear like a huge amount of square footage, but they're friendly. They can help the atmosphere as far as aesthetically, you know, a nice ember light. But yeah, I wouldn't rely on it as a method of space clearing in total, but it definitely doesn't hurt, and it can make us feel better.
And what about if somebody was doing like dark magic? Sylvia's asking how to clear the house from someone who had negative, like, you know, a spell or, you know, a dark energy, which I just want to point out, Sylvia, and to any of those who've practiced intentional magic, which I have for many years, it's the intentionality is the energy that can stick to things. It's not in the house, it's the intentionality, and then you're buying into it. And agreeing to it. So I just want you to know that you are a sentient being who is sovereign and who has the power to clear the energy, and that it can't be done to you necessarily. And that's just from my point of view as an intentionalist and a magician, somebody who has been very clear. But Tisha, do you have any tips on that?
No, I would just echo that and just, you know, raise the vibration.
Exactly.
Love and light.
Exactly. Joy is a choice. So, Lisa's asking more about bells. Would I find that in the book? Do you talk about bells in the book?
And I do in my Mind Body Home book. I have a section on space clearing. Yeah. So any like brass bells, I think that has a nice clank to it.
Yeah.
I do use bells quite a bit. It helps kind of break up the density, you know, and then it gets the whole house on one note. And so there is a smooth harmony that you can feel in the house.
I love that. I used to have at Gypsy Tea, I had my sales team in one big room, and anytime anyone got a sale over a certain amount, I would have them ring a bell, and then everybody would cheer. And we had the happiest sales team in the world. It was just, so now I realize they were, you know, clearing
the house.
Yeah, exactly. Space clearing over and over again. Yeah. So Tisha, are there any tips for this time of quarantine? Because I sense, as I think most of our circle does, is that this is going to come in waves. So we're probably going to have like we're going to leave the lockdown soon. Probably we're going to start, and then in the fall it'll probably come back, and in the winter it'll probably come back. But so, is there anything that we can do energetically to create a space for wellness and a high vibration, so that we don't get sick, and that we can create like a harmonized energy around wellness?
Absolutely. There's the certain sections of the Bagua that I'll kind of bring to your attention for health and immunity. The very, very center, which is the health, the section, would be definitely a place. And then also the fame, fame and reputation is what it's called on the traditional Bagua map. I'm not sure what words you have on there. The top middle.
Yeah, fame and reputation.
Okay, great. So those two sections, really pay attention to those in your house. So the health is the very center. And again, when I say pay attention, it's that 3-step process of Feng Shui. Remove the clutter, rearrange if you need to, and then you can add some extra energy, little whatever you want to add. But especially the middle of the house is the earth element, okay, are represented by the earth element. So you can add, things you can add in that section would be earth element related things, which is things, think of the Southwest United States, clay, pottery, earth tones, containers, baskets, things that contain. All right, so those are the elements you want in that section. And then the fame section, even though you were saying fame, and why is fame important right now? Well, that section is the fire element, and the fire is our life force energy. And we think of it as being seen in the world, but our life force energy is our life force energy and our light within. So that's really important for immunity and health as well. So that section is What?
I just realized I have to move the cat box.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. Unless you want your cat famous.
They're
So, so fire elements would be literally fire. So candles, the color red, anything that has a triangular shape to it. Of course, any of this can be brought through artwork as well. The sun, illumination, those types of motifs and energy. So those sections really pay attention to in your house. If you have closets in those sections, really deep dive, declutter those out really well. Whatever in your closet is in your body somewhere. So decluttering is the same as energy healing, doing energy work and releasing blocks. And it just allows literally your breathing to be better. Okay, so if you feel anywhere constricted in your house, then that's somewhere in your body as well. Okay. So we want to open the channels, the breathing, our house breathing is the same as us breathing. It's an exact mirror. So if there's tight areas, then see where you can open it up.
wonderful. Well, it's time for us to wrap up. So Tisha, I wanted to show everybody your box. This is, I love the orange. Do you like how I did the bright orange?
Yeah, I love it.
And so it comes with the Bagua map, and it comes with a Japanese cherry bonsai tree kit, so you can grow your own bonsai tree. And this is from a group of farmers up north in California. And they were so grateful that I ordered 300 of these little guys.
I bet they were.
During a pandemic. And they were like, oh my God, you're amazing. Thank you. And then the beautiful harmonized tea with the bergamot and the roses and the tangerine. And so I want to thank all of you, and especially you, Tisha. Thank you for the work you do on helping the world be a better place and helping us become more aligned to our second skin, which is our home. And you're a bright light, and I really have enjoyed reading your books. So any of you who are interested, Mind, Body, Home by Tisha Morris is available on Amazon or anywhere you buy books. You can find it. Obviously, everything's online right now. And Tisha, thank you so much for your time. And I learned a lot, and I hope all of you learned a lot. Thank you, Molly. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Catherine. Oh, good. The most informative so far. Thank you, Karen. Much love to you. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Cindy and Lise and Diane and Lily and Deborah. Oh, Deborah and Rosie and Tawana. Hi, Tawana. And Betsy and Heather. I love you guys. Thank you. And Laura and Jean. Wow. And Mary Beth and Hattis. Love to you in Germany, sweetheart. And Dorian. Good to see you. And Sylvia and Susan and Jacoba and Suzanne. Wow. I love you guys. Thank you. And I will see you hopefully next Saturday at 4 o'clock. And Tisha, to be continued.
All right. Thank you for creating this space for everyone.
Of course, sweetheart. Much love. Take care, guys. Bye, Shauna. Bye, Alicia. Bye, Cindy. Bye, Amy. Bye, everyone.